I saw someone's question about people exploiting bugs and stuff like that. It's a multi-pronged issue.
Not too long ago, Tipsy Triggers had a Q&A with Red Barrels asking a lot of very important questions or just fun things that might be to come in the Outlast trials. So I listened to the whole live stream in order to cut down all of the information and give you the straight points about what was answered pretty confidently. So to give you all the information, I won't waste any more time. Will there be an Outlast dating simulator? Yes, all the most important questions were answered during this live stream, and devastatingly, no, there won't be an Outlast dating simulator. Will there be mouse and keyboard support for console players? It's in the works right now, but it is a pretty difficult thing to do. What is Red Barrels doing about bugs and exploiters? The developers are actually trying to deal with a lot of the bugs and the people exploiting them, so this makes it a lot more harder. If you send a video to Red Barrels by any means of reporting, they will take a look at it and ban people. Red Barrels also checks Reddit often apparently, so if you want something to be noticed, Reddit may be a better place to do it. Is the stun jammer combo getting nerfed for invasion? Apparently yes, the stun and jammer combo is getting nerfed for invasion, but they have to consider if balancing a rig is something that will affect all gameplay and not just invasion. Rosie also mentioned seeing an infinite healing video, so I don't know if this was me. Maybe it was. That would be incredibly cool to get noticed by the developers.
I did see something about an infinite, was it infinite heal? Things like that we keep track of and it seems like a bug.
So hopefully that gets patched very soon. They also don't want to keep doing small patching and want to test things and release things in a much bigger update. They would much rather do things in that fashion. They don't want to jump the gun on a lot of things and make mistakes in the process, so I really appreciate it, but they are working on these bugs. A quick one being, was escalation intended to give a lot of XP? Yes, it actually was. Will there be another use for stamps? They really do want to find a way for people to be able to use stamps, especially the people who are just stacked up and have no way to spend them. Once you've bought everything in the catalogs, there's no way to spend your stamps, so it is a very difficult issue because you can't just create content out of thin air, you can't create skins out of thin air to just make you be able to spend your stamps. Will there be a way to save loadouts or customization? There's no news on saving cosmetics, but they are having a look at how a loadout save would work, so it sort of is in the works, but it's not really expected anytime soon. Do some characters or outfits have smaller hitboxes? Rosie wasn't very sure about this and wasn't really sure if any characters had smaller hitboxes or any of the outfits, but the one with a really skinny waist that recently came out, I'm not really sure what the name is, that one definitely does not have a smaller hitbox. Also, if you're enjoying the video, remember to like and subscribe because less than 3% of you guys are actually subscribed. Is cross progression going to come to the Outlast trials? They don't want to set false expectations, so no, there are no plans for cross progression currently. Is there going to be an offline mode or story mode for Outlast? There are no plans for an offline mode currently because it would take a lot of work, and similarly, there are also no campaign missions planned or anything like that. Will there be new UI systems for newer players? Red Barrels are looking into changing the way that the terminal looks and more around looking at the trials before you go into them. Personally, I think the terminal looks great right now. It used to look a bit iffy, but the art just looks so amazing at the moment. They're also looking at reworking the variator tips so they won't be appearing as much as they are for people who know what they're doing. On the topic of new players, they also won't make invasion something that's easier for new players or provide tutorials for them. Invasion is something that's meant to be challenging, they said, and they're also looking to accommodate veterans rather than new players, which is great. From what was said, I heavily doubt that there's going to be anything like bots for learning invasion or tutorials or anything like that. This was one of the cases throughout the live stream where Rosie didn't really know if she could say anything about it or if it was going to happen, just not very sure. Is there any news about the Outlast movie? I'm incredibly surprised the Outlast movie was actually mentioned. It is moving along with its production, but it's very, very slow by the sounds of it. Apparently the script is being written, so in that case, if the script is still being written, I see this happening in a very long time. In 2016, when I was really young, I remember seeing that the script was being written for the Minecraft movie, and we all know that took about like another decade for that to actually come out. So I see this very far future, maybe like 5 years time. Don't expect it anytime soon. Answers to questions about outfits. They're taking into consideration basing outfits on prime assets, but don't count on this happening. They're also making outfits more based on each catalog. By that, I mean the outfits in catalogs will more correspond with the theme of the catalog itself. They're also considering fan-made skins, but don't count on that either anytime soon because it's not something they have time for at the moment. It's also a very difficult issue because you associate yourselves with that artist, and if there are any issues with that artist, you are responsible because you're choosing to work with them. Will Outlast Trials have the old cinematics come back? Now, these are cinematics from before I started playing the game, so I don't really have too much to say on these, but they do intend to bring back old cinematics, but it's just very difficult. Again, this is something they're not really going to have time for anytime soon. Would Red Barrels be able to separate hats and hair? There's no vision of separating the hats and hair and customization in the foreseeable future, unfortunately. Apparently, according to Rosie, it's a technical issue. It's a bit sad that there's no vision of this happening anytime soon, because it would be a bit cool, but I understand why it can't happen. One more thing on customization, the Twitch Prime skin was apparently not meant to look like Franco. I never really made this correlation, but apparently quite a few people thought that. Will Outlast Trials get any more achievements? The short answer is no, Outlast Trials isn't going to be getting any more achievements because it's a bit difficult to do with all of the separate platforms. Will we be able to gift Murkoff coins to our friends? There's currently no plans for gifting Murkoff coins, but Rosie said it was a very cool idea, and I'm sure it's in high regard as something that they would want to do, so maybe. I think this would be a really nice thing to do, but they've only recently added buying their own currencies. Will you be able to skip the intro cutscenes? No, you'll never be able to skip the intro cutscenes. I'm not sure who asked this because they're really cool. And if you don't understand, they are part of the loading process of the game. Yeah, they're a bit long, but I'm not really sure why you'd want to skip them. They're really cool in the first place, but they're just integral to the game and they get you in the mood for what you're about to do. I mean that in the way of actually playing the trials and playing the horror game, not in any other way. What's going on with the support tickets? Yes, Red Barrels checks every support ticket and they do eventually get through them all. There are just so many. If you're looking for a place, it sounds like Discord is one of the better places to do it, but they do check the Reddit. It is just probably that Discord handles these a lot better as they can go through all of them categorically. It took me a while to say all of that, but yes, they do get through them all. It might take weeks and maybe even a matter of months and then even longer for that issue that you're reporting to actually get fixed, so have hope. Was Outlast ever meant to be PvP? I think you can probably already tell, but Outlast Trials was never meant to be PvP and it's really never going to be balanced around that way because PvP games are never really 100% balanced. Outlast Trials is always going to be primarily PvE, but again, there is no time for a story mode. There's just not enough time for the developers to be working on that. Again, I've said it so many times, Red Barrels is an incredibly small team. Will you ever be able to play as a prime asset? From the reaction, I would basically say no. There's probably never going to be playing as any prime assets. It was said by Rosie that you're not being that scripted character anymore that they programmed and they designed. I didn't really think about it, but it blurs the line between the character that they made and who they wanted them to be and the players. This was a long shot of a question that was asked, but is there anything on the new prime asset? Of course, an expected answer, there's no news on a new prime asset, but I would say that they're working more on the new enemy that's going to be coming because it has been confirmed by the developers themselves. The next character to be added is just going to be an X-Pop and not a prime asset. The only thing that Rosie said was, I think people are going to be very shocked, so take what you will from that. Anyway, that's all the important information that I got from the Q&A. Thank you again for Tipsy Triggers for having this Q&A. All credit goes to them for the questions and the interview. Thank you everybody for sticking to the end of the video. I'm glad you guys enjoyed, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to. It's less than 3% of people who watch me that are actually subscribed. Anyway guys, thank you again for watching. See yous.